Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out today. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. So before we dive into these topics, do me a big favor. If you do end up enjoying this video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. It really does help the videos out a lot. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. We have quite a few different things to discuss in this video. So the first topic we're focusing on is the PlayStation Plus Essential lineup for August. This was just officially announced by Sony, and it's looking like it is a very, very solid lineup of games. I think a lot of people are happy with what they're getting. So we're looking at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered. We're looking at Yakuza Like a Dragon, and we're also looking at Little Nightmares. So for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered, you're getting the cross-gen bundle, so you're getting the PS5 and PS4 version. For Yakuza Like a Dragon, you're also getting the PS5 and PS4 version, and for Little Nightmares, you're looking at the PS4 version. So be sure to let me know what you guys think of the PlayStation Plus Essential lineup for August. Personally, I think it's looking really good. But on top of that, we got the announcement that the Yakuza series is set to hit PlayStation Plus this year, but it does come with a bit of a caveat here that is certainly worth pointing out. So this was something that Sony announced alongside the PS Plus Essential August lineup, and the first 3 games chronologically in the Yakuza series will be released on PS Plus in August. They're releasing these in 2 waves. So those games are Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza 2. All 3 games are going to be available through PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium, and obviously Yakuza Like a Dragon is part of that. And so it says the rest of the series won't be available until sometime in 2022, and those titles are Yakuza 3 Remastered, Yakuza 4 Remastered, Yakuza 5 Remastered, and Yakuza 6 The Song of Life. Now here's the important part you have to understand. Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 Remastered will only be available through PlayStation Plus Premium, not Extra. So if you are currently subscribed to PlayStation Plus Extra and you were hoping to get access to all of these titles, unfortunately, that's not going to be how it works, and some people are not happy about this, understandably so. You would think with an announcement like this, pretty much all of these games would be available through PlayStation Plus Extra, but you know, that's not how they're doing it here. So yeah, I think in general, it's still good to see that Sony is really trying to build up the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium catalog, but I do also think it's a little bit understandable why some people wouldn't be too thrilled to hear that, you know, they're going to have to subscribe to Premium if they want to have access to the entire catalog. But, you know, at this point, I'm going to be curious to see what you guys have to say. Are you planning on subscribing to PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium to play any of these titles? But we are going to move on to the next topic, which is some very bad news, unfortunately, for a upcoming PlayStation console exclusive Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. This was a game that was announced last year, and it got a lot of people very excited, but we have a new report here that pretty much tells us this game is in serious trouble. This was written up by Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, and it says a hotly anticipated new Star Wars game is in serious trouble, according to people familiar with the project. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, a remake of a 2003 role-playing game, is delayed indefinitely as developers at Austin, Texas-based Aspyr Media try to figure out what comes next. Aspyr also abruptly fired the game's art director and design director this month. In a series of meetings throughout July, Aspyr's 2 studio heads told employees that the project is on pause and that the company will look for new contracts and development opportunities, said the people who were not authorized to speak publicly about the situation. Knights of the Old Republic was to be one of the first modern Star Wars console games released outside of Electronic Arts, which had previously held the exclusive licensing rights. That deal expires in 2023, opening the door for new Star Wars games from outside companies like Aspyr, Ubisoft, and Quantic Dream. The game was announced last September and has been in development for nearly 3 years at Aspyr, which was purchased by Sweden's Embracer Group AB last year. Aspyr, founded in 1996, was best known as a service shop that brought existing video games to other platforms such as iOS, including the original Knights of the Old Republic games. On June 30th, Aspyr finalized a demo for the game, known as a vertical slice, to show to production partners Lucasfilm and Sony. The developers were excited about it and felt like they were on track, according to a person familiar with the project, so they were shocked by what happened next. The following week, the company fired design director Brad Prince and art director Jason Miner. Neither responded to requests for comment, but Miner suggested on social media page that his dismissal was unexpected. Aspyr studio heads told staff that the vertical slice wasn't where they wanted it to be, and that the project would be paused, according to two people who were in the meeting. One person familiar with the discussions suggested that a disproportionate amount of time and money had gone into the demo, and that the project's current course wasn't sustainable. Another point of contention may be the timeline. At the outset of development, Aspyr told staff and partners it would release the game by the end of 2022. According to two people familiar with production, developers said a more realistic target now would be 2025. The fate of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake remains unclear. In May, Embracer announced that Saber Interactive would also join the project. Some at Aspyr believe that Saber, which has mainly been doing outsourcing work for the project, may take over completely. So yeah, this is a pretty significant report coming from Bloomberg, and obviously we have to take everything with a grain of salt, but Jason Schreier is one of the most reliable individuals within the gaming industry, so I think it's safe to say that there is certainly some truth to what's being said here, and this is not good at all. I have to imagine that right now Sony and Lucasfilm are pretty furious about this situation, and it's crazy to me that they were apparently shooting to release this game by the end of 2022, and yet now they're claiming internally that a more realistic time frame is sometime in 2025. This is why gamers get so frustrated with games being announced so early, but it's not even the early announcements that are the most frustrating, right? Because as it said, the game's been in development for 3 years. The most frustrating aspect is getting these CG trailers that hype people up so much, and then sometimes we have situations like this. Now, that's not to say that CG trailers don't have their place. And, you know, when I think about like a game like Wolverine, I feel like it's kind of a safe bet to get excited about that because it's Insomniac, it's Sony, it's Marvel. You have just a tremendous amount of confidence. I feel like they can kind of get away with it. But I feel like something like this, a studio like Aspyr, they kind of have yet to prove themselves. They didn't show any gameplay. They just don't have that much goodwill other than, hey, we're making a Star Wars game and we're remaking a beloved classic. I mean, yeah, that's going to get people excited, but I've seen so many people just so upset at this report. And it's interesting because when you pay attention to the part where they talk about the vertical slice, this means that a ton of effort went into kind of carving out this section of Star Wars Old Republic remake, where they're going to show this off to Sony and to Lucasfilm, and the idea is they want to show it off in the best possible light. That means the most amount of effort went into this, and this was supposed to be something that kind of got, you know, those who were in charge at Sony and Lucasfilm excited and feeling good, and apparently it was so bad that they immediately fired people, and that's crazy. Like, that's pretty crazy to me. It really makes me wonder, like, what state was this game in? Because apparently the developers were feeling pretty confident in it. So clearly there's some kind of like massive disconnect here, and I don't know that we'll hear more about it, but it's just a really unfortunate situation. I know, again, that so many people were excited for this game. I've even seen a lot of you guys here on the channel talk about how you really hope to see more of this game this year or learn more about it. And some people were hopeful that it would release maybe sometime in 2023, but it seems like there's just a lot going very wrong behind the scenes, and it wouldn't surprise me if we don't hear anything about this game for quite some time. But hopefully we can get some type of official update. I feel like at this point in time, worst case scenario, I don't think it will get canceled, but it does sound like development will have to be completely rebooted and a whole new team may have to take over. So yeah, I'll be sure to update you guys if we get any new information. Be sure to leave your thoughts about that down below. But the next topic we're talking about is yet another report coming from Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, but this time about GTA 6. And this is a very interesting one because we are getting a lot of new details about GTA 6 and what to expect. And this is a game that is shrouded in so much mystery and the expectations are unbelievably high. So let's read what's being said here. I'm definitely going to be curious to see what you guys have to say about this. This is reading from VGC, where they say Grand Theft Auto 6 will take place in an area based in Miami and may feature a female playable character. This is what has been claimed by Jason Schreier. And so obviously this is getting people thinking of Vice City. It sounds like that may be where the game is set once again. Continues by saying Bloomberg reports that the game, which it claims began development sometime in 2014, is at least 2 years away. Early designs called for the inclusion of territories modeled after large swaths of North and South America, the publication states. The company reeled in those ambitions and cut the main map down to a fictional version of Miami and its surrounding areas. Rockstar's next game, Grand Theft Auto 6, will include a playable female protagonist for the first time, Bloomberg adds, citing sources familiar with the game. The woman, who is Latina, will be one of a pair of leading characters in a story influenced by the bank robbers Bonnie and Clyde. This is what the people said. Developers are also being cautious not to punch down by making jokes about marginalized groups, the people said, in contrast to previous games. It's also been claimed that the game's single-player map will be updated over time, adding new missions and cities on a regular basis, which the leadership hopes will lead to less crunch during the game's final months. However, it said that the game will feature more interior locations than previous Grand Theft Auto games, which has reportedly impacted the development timeline. Bloomberg reports that a cultural overhaul at Rockstar is at the core of the big changes for the franchise. Due to some of the challenges that the company implemented in an effort to improve working conditions, such as restructuring of the design department and a pledge to keep overtime under control. At the beginning of 2022, Bloomberg claims that the company outed several senior figures that employees thought were abusive or toxic. They also introduced a new system wherein every extra hour worked on the game can be instantly claimed back. This is a long way from the 100-hour work weeks that former Rockstar head Dan Houser seemed to brag about in the lead up to Red Dead Redemption 2's release. Employees have been given new mental health and leave benefits, says the report. To help stick to the new vision for Rockstar, the company has hired more producers in order to keep on top of the sprawling production schedule. While employees say that this has been positive, it has reportedly also caused bottlenecks. Some employees said they found themselves waiting around to communicate through middlemen, or that it felt like multiple people were in charge, leaving them unsure of who should make the final call. Industry insider Tom Henderson claimed last July that Grand Theft Auto 6 would release in either 2024 or 2025, partly due to Rockstar's new focus on employee well-being following criticism of its alleged crunch culture. At the time, his claims were backed up by Bloomberg journalist Jason Schreier, as well as VGC's own sources. So this is some really interesting information we are receiving about GTA 6. Obviously, none of it is official and none of it is confirmed yet, but at this point in time, it seems like we can believe what's being said here. And there are just some things that we're learning that I'm really curious about. The biggest thing is how apparently it's been claimed that the game's single-player map will be updated over time, adding new missions and cities on a regular basis. Now, I really have to wonder how this is going to work, because we know that GTA Online is going to be massive and a big priority for Rockstar. But it seems all but confirmed at this point that, yeah, there's going to be a traditional single player, which not many people doubted, and I think that's great. I mean, it would be crazy to get a mainline GTA game without a proper single player, and so I do have to wonder how this is going to work. Are they going to kind of, bring out these updates that will satiate those who just want the single player experience to be able to kind of continue the journey of the main characters of the game? Or is this their way of basically saying that the main story of GTA 6 is going to be a bit shorter, a bit more compact, and then when they release this, new content, the new missions, cities, and updates on a regular basis, they're basically going to be for GTA Online, where you play as your custom character. It's not really made clear here, so we'll have to see about that. I think that's something that, people are definitely a little bit worried about and wondering how it's going to be handled. We know that GTA Online is the cash cow for Rockstar and Take-Two. It's also interesting that, they're going to have a female lead for the first time, so that will be interesting to see, what's going on there and learning about, this character's story and, just kind of seeing how they're going to handle it. And it's also really interesting to me that they are focusing more on interior locations. I feel like this is going to be a big thing to help differentiate GTA 6 from, say, GTA 5. I think that it's not necessarily about making the game as big as it can possibly be, but it's about maybe adding density, right? And allowing even more, interiors to be explored. I think that that would really kind of help, GTA 6 meet those expectations. And then finally, it's talking about how apparently they're not going to be making as many jokes as they once did. They're going to, kind of be pumping the brakes on that. And, that to me, that's interesting because that is part of GTA. And for better or for worse, that is part of its DNA. And it sounds like they are essentially removing that. And I don't know how people are going to feel about that. I mean, I feel like it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. Like, I feel like the game is probably still going to be great. But to some people, that will remove an aspect of the game that it was known for. Again, that's kind of like baked into the DNA of what Grand Theft Auto is. And so that's very interesting. And it sounds like they really cleaned things up there at Rockstar to create a much better work environment, which I think is really important. I think at this point, when it comes to game development, it's become more clear over time that there is a difference between working hard and ensuring that you're keeping up on everything, and just kind of people having to suffer needlessly when it's just basically poor management, right? So it's good to hear that they got this under control, but I had to talk about this with you guys because this is substantial news we're getting about GTA. And so at this point, I'm going to leave it to you. Let me know your thoughts about GTA 6 and what we're learning about the game. I'll definitely be curious to hear what you guys have to say. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Be sure to leave it a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.